What's up, man? I had to go through dirty laundry to find the tank. That
Yeah.
is the things we do for sponsors. We wear dirty tank tops.
Are they
Someone in
even
the wings.
watching? Has Matt McAvoy seen me talk shit about how much they
I
paid
don't
to
know.
Dude,
sponsor yet?
I've tagged him on Instagram. He didn't even follow me back. He's all private and shit.
Yeah, I tagged him too. He
I
didn't
thought he
follow
liked
me
me,
back.
but I
What
was
the
fucking
hell?
wrong.
Matt
Yeah.
McAvoy, what's your problem, bro? Like,
I
I'll
need the follow, dog.
we're trying to promote your shit. You won't even follow us back.
Trying to be an influencer and you won't even follow me, dude.
I'll
I
I'll
We're
cry
the
myself to
most
sleep every night.
underpaid influencers in the game, and we can't even get a follow back from this guy. Attila, do you know Matt McAvoy at Max Bounty?
No, no, I don't.
You're probably better off. He won't follow you on Instagram.
Really?
Fucking hurtful. I don't know what to say.
Wanna make that paper, wanna make that now. This is the affiliate marketing show. Wanna make that paper, wanna make that now. This is
What's up, everybody? This is Josh coming to you with another episode of the Affiliate Marketing Show. Please be sure to like, follow, and subscribe to stay up to date on all the latest affiliate marketing news, tips, and trends. I'm Josh from OfferVault.com, the industry's largest aggregator of all things affiliate marketing. We also have Mr. PayPerCall Adam Young, as well as the industry legend Harrison Gevirtz. And before we announce our special guest, a big shout out goes to our official sponsor of the show, Max Bounty, celebrating 20 years of excellence, the trailblazing CPA network that's been setting industry standards since day one. As a pioneer in the field, Max Bounty proudly marks its 20th anniversary as the world's leading CPA network. Breaking records left and right, Max Bounty proudly claims the title of being the first network to clinch the #1 spot by both OfferVault and MThink's rankings. It's a testament to their unwavering commitment to excellence and innovation. Dive into their top performing verticals such as financial, insurance, market research, and e-commerce. With a diverse array of high converting offers, they pave the way for affiliates to reach new heights of success. Make sure to check out Max Bounty today, a top CPA network in the game. Thanks again, Max Bounty. And going to our special guest of the show today, Atilla Odri, aka iAmAttila, CMO of PayPerCall.agency, where they use exclusive pay-per-call solutions to turn your phone line into a gold mine. What's up, Atilla? How are we doing today?
Hey Josh, I'm good. How are you guys?
Listen, I do my research, all right? I go to the website, I see what the hook is, I use it. It's a good one,
The
too.
tone that you read that in, I thought you were about to sell me a used car that doesn't work.
Yeah,
This
man,
car is
exactly.
brand new and runs perfectly. Just don't turn it on or try to
Dude,
turn
he
it
reminded me of Bob in The Price is Right. You guys remember?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
Mr. Barker.
Uh,
But
yeah.
Josh, what happened to the skit? Like,
Well, listen,
Yeah,
you
dude.
can't. Too much of a good thing is no good. You got to leave people wanting more. We'll see what happens next week. You know, I'm running out
I
of
was literally about to
ideas.
say, as a sponsored tank top wearer of Max Bounty, that you're doing him dirty by not giving him some
I
Chat
could,
GPT
I
goodness.
could. First of all, that was Chat GPT. I just did a standard Chat GPT, but
Don't fucking give them the recipe.
I'm running out of skits. I need suggestions from the viewers. Viewers,
Okay,
this is a great thing.
next week's episode, I would like the read given by a alien super affiliate from outer space.
Okay,
It's
we
either
can
gonna
make that
suck.
happen.
I want some
Yeah.
galactic shit.
Attila, I usually read that sponsorship as like something like I've done as a cowboy, as a person being chased by a bear, as a hip hop artist. I've done a lot. Everyone go back. We will take your comments on the video for skit ideas, but Attila, iAmAttila, what have you. Um, outside of being the CMO of PayPerCall.agency, I know you're a direct inbound lead gen expert. So a lot of what we want to talk to you about today is that, as well as PayPerCall. And I'm curious, if PayPerCall is such a hot thing right now and such a good place to be, why can't some affiliates, connect the dots when it comes to PayPerCall and making that work?
That's a great question. And being an affiliate myself for a very long time, actually, for me, it was also a struggle to adapt the pay-per-call mindset, because with pay-per-call, you really need to deliver high quality calls to the buyers, because they get people on the phone. So you don't want to waste the time of the person picking up the phone. So your ad has to be good. And a lot of affiliates are always about pushing the envelope. So a lot of their ads are like misleading, false claims, stuff like that, and they get filtered through the funnel, right? Which is online, and it can take an unlimited number of incoming clicks, pretty much. But in pay-per-call, it's different. And if your quality is shit after a certain cause, they're just gonna kick you off the offer. They'll kick you out of the offer. And a lot of affiliates cannot, like work this in their head on how the hell can that be? Like, how does that work? Like, what do you mean it has to be high quality? I need to make money. So that's one of the
Simply put,
reasons
I
I
think
do
it
it.
takes a little bit extra work versus if
Yeah.
I'm just going to go run a random offer. And I've met successful, e-com affiliates, for example, that are just like, yeah, I'll try calls eventually. And then, like, I'm thinking of one specifically, you know who you are. You're a great person. You've been telling me you're going to get calls going for 2 years, but you're like, well, I tried one day. I spent like $8 on Google ads and didn't make money. And back to Nutra, back to ecom, back to air conditioners that don't work. And I'm like, bro, you have so much potential, but he just can't get over that hump. By the way, you inspired me, Attila, so I had to join the sunglasses inside crowd. Just so
Hell yeah, hangover crew, man.
I mean, I just drank water last night, but sure.
I just didn't sleep, so
Yeah, Attila, you inspired me too, dude. I
hell
appreciate it,
yeah.
You
There we
gotta,
go. Skid is going, man. Skid is
Oh
going.
shit! This is a good episode, everybody.
There you go.
Look, so I think the reality is around what we're saying, and I'd like to preface this by a shout out to a few of our friends, Harrison. Shout out to friend of the pod, Teddy, who got a $10 million GOAT award after just being a pay-per-call agency for a real short period of time. I think it was like 5 or 6 months. He came from affiliate and ecom, and also had to adapt his mindset, but decided to put the effort in and really learn the industry. And now he runs an 8-figure pay-per-call agency, or like our friend Ray, also a friend of the pod. He was doing ecom, and is now, I think, doing all calls. And that's the thing about calls. There's a humans taking the call. So if you send really shit quality, they're going to know really quickly. But at the end of the day, if you do it right, you can build a really large, sustainable business that lasts for a really long time. So it is a mindset shift for affiliates. And it's not that hard to shift your mindset to get it done right. It just takes some practice and some effort. If you want to learn how to do it, I wrote the book on it, The Pay-Per-Call Revolution. We'll put a link
It
in the
is.
comments. Oh, there's one right there. Everyone's got the book.
Hell
Thousands
yeah.
of people have literally read the book.
I'm
And
literally about to be done with it, and I gotta say, I've learned a lot. I thought I knew about pay per call. I knew absolutely nothing, and the book is legit. And I'm not just saying that as a co-host of Adams. It's legit. You got to get a copy and check it out.
right, like it's actually good.
Yeah, it
It's
is. It's solid. It's like if you don't know anything about it, read it and you'll understand A to Z and you'll be ready to go.
Yeah.
I
I think
also
the only
had
person on the pod who hasn't read it is Harrison, and he's actually
But
in
my
the fucking book.
but I don't know how to read. Come on, don't be a dick.
that's why Adams also
I have to use
doing.
the accessibility thing. It reads to me the questions from the spreadsheet we put together for the show in my ear. It's like, this is the next question. So, come an
When's the book on
audiobook
tape?
inside.
Yeah, when's the audiobook coming out, Adam?
I just got the Audible proof back. I have to go into the studio when we get back to Miami tomorrow and do like 20 corrections. I have to tell you, like, that's a hell of a process, by the way, and I think it would be really interesting for marketers. Like, I did it in a few sittings. It was 3 and 4 hour sessions at a time, a total of like 15 hours of recording, I think. And every little thing has to be reread over and over and over again to get it right. And it was like a real process. But I have to go back and do some corrections, and then we'll probably get the Audible out in the next week or two. But I have a lot of respect for people that do infomercials and VSLs and voiceovers and this type of thing. Like it's actually a lot of work. It's really hard to get it done and get it done right. So I hope people enjoy the Audible because it was a complete pain in the ass.
Attila, I think it's safe to say if you're doing pay-per-call, and maybe I'm wrong, but if you're doing pay-per-call, you're doing affiliate marketing. But if you're doing affiliate marketing, you're not necessarily doing pay-per-call. Far from it, actually. So I'm curious, what are the biggest differences between pay-per-call and a traditional affiliate marketing? Like obviously, there's phone calls involved. We all know that. But when you get a little bit deeper into the weeds, what do you think are the true differences?
The true differences are, I can tell you, because like one of the struggles that I have with PayPerCall right now and why it's on pause for me personally is because of the time difference. Like one of the biggest issues that I face as an affiliate and a big difference between just running affiliate offers versus PayPerCall is PayPerCall lives in the United States. Like there's hardly any PayPerCall outside the US. So in order to make it happen, you have to work US hours. And now if there's a big time difference, between the location where you are versus where the customers are, then it can be extremely tiring because you have to stay up until 1 o'clock in the morning, but this after you work the whole day. So the time difference is a big reason why affiliate is easier because you don't care. You can put day parting and you just send the traffic and it's doing its thing. You don't have to sit there and watch it. And with pay-per-call, you really have to watch your buyers and see how the RPCs are formulating for the day, just because the success of a call depends on who picks it up. Like I found this from listening to the calls in Ringba and stuff like that, that if an agent in a call center who's extremely good gets the call, they can turn a horrible lead into a conversion, basically. Versus if it's like a bad agent, they would just go through the script and then get rid of the call and you're not going to get paid. So that's one of the biggest differences for affiliates, is that you have to really babysit the calls, even though inside Ringba you can optimize by RPC, so revenue per minute or whatever, and revenue per call. And even then, I feel you have to sit there and manually just be present and listen and get real-time feedback versus affiliate offers, which are automatic based on EPC and stuff like that.
You know, just for our listeners and our audience and you, Attila, our larger customers that are like media buying organizations, they all have QA staff members and operations people that are literally in the software and working on this all day long. So I
Yeah.
do think that, traditional affiliate, you just like sit there and refresh your stats all day, right? But in calls,
Yep.
you really have to pay attention. And I love what you said there about listening to calls. I think for affiliates and media buyers, they don't do this enough. The answers to all your questions, how to optimize a campaign, how to maximize your margin, how to do your Google keywords, how to move from YouTube to Google to Facebook to whatever, like all of that information is actually in the call recording if you listen closely to what's going on. And to your point, I think that not enough people in the space do their contracts correctly, and then they don't do QA. QA should be a profit center, just like you're talking about. Like, does a specific buyer have a bad agent? Can you send that call recording to your buyer and say, hey, listen, this agent isn't performing, or, this agent's doing amazing. Can you train your staff differently? Like, you really have to think about how your buyers are your partners as opposed to just some advertiser that's paying you. And so I think that's also a really big difference, Josh, is you have to think of everybody as your partner in pay-per-call for the long term, as opposed to just someone who's, whatever you're selling for them, like e-com. People buy and it's done, and whatever happens afterwards is
It's not
the
your problem.
advertiser's problem, right? Yeah, it's not your problem. But in pay-per-call, you really have to think more like a business person and treat everybody that you're working with like your partner. And that's really how you make the most money, and how our biggest affiliate customers make their money, is that they're just really conscientious and they pay close attention to what's happening on the calls. They provide really great feedback. they communicate well, but they also run really big businesses. And so you want to do 85 million in a year, you can do that with pay-per-call, no sweat, but you have to build a team, you have to be smart, you have to put the work in. It's not set and forget.
You know, Attila mentioned pay-per-call lives in the US, paraphrasing what you said there. But would you guys agree, like, I don't know, from an outsider's perspective looking in, like most of the call centers live outside of the US? And what do you think, like, the breakdown is in terms of like percentage wise, in terms of like US versus outside the US when it comes to the call centers themselves?
The US actually has one of the fastest growing, if not the fastest growing call center market, Josh. It's also one of the largest call center markets. I think if you look at regulated industries, like insurance, for instance, they have to be licensed to sell insurance. So those call centers live in the United States. A lot of the times what you'll get is a offshore call center, nearshore call center that qualifies someone and then transfers the call to a US agent. And the thing about American culture is we know immediately when we're talking to an American, and we really don't want to talk to anybody except Americans. That's in general, right? Like, I'm not saying anyone doesn't like foreigners, but if we're calling to buy something, we prefer to speak with an American because the foreign call centers a lot of the times don't understand how we communicate, and English is not formal, it's very much slang. We use all kinds of slang all over the place and make up words and use cultural references, and English is not like other languages. And so when you're talking to someone that's not American, you know immediately the conversion rate will go down if you send calls outside of the United States. That's why a lot of the transfer call centers are actually located in places like Tijuana, for instance, where they have English-speaking foreigners, but they've been to America.
They've lived here, maybe.
Yeah, they consume our culture. They know how we speak. And so there's ways around this, but realistically, depending on how high value the calls are, they're going to be in the United States. Customer service, different. Like, you can outsource
Talking about customer
service.
acquisition and sales, it's just worth the extra money to have your
Yeah.
infrastructure in the US.
Yeah.
I see our next kind of question for you, Attila, and I wanted to bend the question a little bit. So, you know, what Josh was going to ask you was essentially what are the best ways to get started, you know, in online or online advertising, affiliate marketing, whatever you want to call it, with little to no money. And I saw the other day you posted your 13-year-old son on the computer and it said something like 13-year-old media buyer or 13-year-old buying media or something. So I guess I'm going to give you a 2-for-1 question. What I just asked you, but I'd love to hear about your son's kind of journey into affiliate marketing or calls or whatever he's doing and see how, you know, what he's up to and how it's going, how you're helping him. And, you know, did you give him a bankroll or was he very limited? And, you know, just how's it going too? Very curious as someone that started around his age. First and foremost, I fucking love it. And I hope he gets to the
Thank
sunglasses
you.
on inside during a podcast level of success, as we call
Hell
it, the
yeah.
pinnacle. But you know,
By the way,
Lord.
Atilla, before you answer that question, if you ever come to one of our mastermind events, your son can come for free.
Awesome, for sure. He'll love that, guys.
We're just gonna charge you double, but he's welcome to come for free. Man, I'm on it today, guys. The
Deal.
caffeine is hitting.
Deal. Epic, epic. So to answer your question, my son, he is incredible. Like, we actually raised him, like I raised him to be a hustler, to want to work for stuff, you know, to achieve things. And his mom raised him to be kind, you know, to be considerate about people and all that stuff. So he gets, you know, 50% from me and 50% from Dora, you know. And at age 10, I got him to reading different kind of books, you know, like for example, Rich Dad, Poor Dad was one of the first ones, Wealthy Barber, just to build like the right mindset, you know, from a young age. And he is extremely determined to achieve goals. Like, we have the luxury of basically buying him anything, and but we didn't want to do that. So what we did is we actually said that, okay, if you want a brand new electric bike, because electric mountain bikes were the thing, then you have to work for it. You have to get good grades and you have to achieve it, and then you will get it as a reward. And he was willing to, basically work extremely hard to get the reward. And this helped ignite a fire in him where he actually is setting goals and working towards these goals. And in terms of media buying, I started slowly by introducing him to video editing, showing him basically different kind of cool, interesting YouTube videos on different subjects, like learning how to code. Jason Akatif, who's actually one of my inspirations, like he's a legend in our industry. He told me that there was like a programming website. I can't remember, Code Canyon or not Code Canyon, but some kind of game that you learn to code, value game. So he started that at age 11. So he learned HTML and JavaScript. And from there on, he learned Photoshop, video editing, and slowly, we built it up like Lego pieces. And now he's actually launching Facebook ads and doing affiliate campaigns, and he's doing pretty good. So he's also learning how to optimize and manage money, not to blow lots of cash testing and stuff like that. So it's a gradual process, that is laid on top of a solid foundation, I guess, which is the mindset, like I believe that's like the key to success in life.
So what would be your specific answer to the other half of the question, which is where do you get started in terms of online?
Okay, so if you're an adult,
Yeah.
then, for example, everybody comes into our industry wanting to make $1 million, but it doesn't work like that, right? Okay, there's a lot of courses that say that, oh, buy this course for 10K and you're going to make $1 million. It doesn't work that way. You need to have either a lot of disposable cash that you can afford to lose so you can hire specialized talent to fill the gap where you don't have the knowledge, or you have to take baby steps. And I always say, every time someone asks me who says, oh, I want to get started in marketing, in performance marketing, but I don't have a lot of money, what should I do? I say, okay, you know what? You should become like a freelancer, okay, where you provide a service in exchange for your time. And this way you can actually get better gradually and develop skills, sell those skills, and then build up a bankroll, which you can then use to test different campaigns, and expect to lose in the beginning. But these paid losses, these tests, are actually going to be part of your education, like with PayPerCall, right? Like I tried PayPerCall a long time ago for the first time. It was back with Mondo Media, and we were using then, and it was Live Links campaign, and I tried
Let's
it.
bleep that out, Adam. We don't say the I word on this show. This is a family podcast, Attila.
It's
Yeah,
fine. We'll
so-
beep it. We'll beep it. It's fine.
So I tried it and I was like, this doesn't work, because I was busy running Nutra. And then I tried it again when guys were like running tech support and like travel and all this stuff. And I didn't like it then either because of the call management. And now I tried it when Adam told me, and I had the best success because he gave me the right mindset to approach it like a business. So what I did first is I went out, I opened, the PayPerCall.agency, and I jumped in the deep end and I started networking and met a bunch of people, realized I already know a lot of people who are doing PayPerCall. And then it went from there. But yeah, it's all like a process, right? You have to build it up.
So something that Adam talks a lot about in his book is, the process of qualifying inbound calls. And I know you probably deal a lot with that as well. I'm going to speak for Adam here. It's not the way, but one of the main ways is with IVRs. And I know Ringba has a lot of technology that allows you to customize said IVRs. And for those that don't know what an IVR is, it's when you call and you get the, for customer service, press 1, for sales, press 2, all that stuff, right? You can have as many or as few options as you want. Do you think IVRs are the main way to qualify those inbound calls, or do you have a different preference in terms of what you think is most effective to get the calls you're actually looking for?
Okay, so I think IVRs maybe, but they're not necessarily, because what I actually heard talking to a bunch of people in the industry, they said that IVRs result in a lot of disconnects. Like people will hear that it's a robot, that they have to hit a menu. They're not likely going to proceed versus getting a human right away on the phone who's basically doing the same thing as an IVR. So it's really cool if you get to know, like, it's all about networking, right? If you have the right contacts, you're going to meet someone that has a call center, and you can be like, hey, can we set up like a live IVR where you give me a bunch of reps and we can qualify and send people? And things like that. And there you go. You solve this problem. Now they're going to get a human on the phone who's probably going to speak perfect American, and your disconnect rates are going to be low, and you will be able to screen the calls. That is one way. Another way is your ads. So when you create the ads, you can make them misleading. You can make them clickbaity. Those are not going to result in highly qualified calls. But if you include in your ad like good qualifiers, like for example, for debt, right? They want 15,000 minimum credit card debt. They want person to be less than, I don't know how many years old, and an American citizen or with a green card. And if you put all the qualifying stuff in the ad and also into the video, then the incoming calls that are going to be generated are going to be much higher quality, versus if you just run an ad which says, you do have credit card debt, call us to get rid of it, So that's how you can do it.
Either of the two paper call experts have any input on that?
Well, one thing I would say about an IVR is, and we have features to do this, but I would typically suggest to record an IVR and not use the computerized voice. Sure, there are customers that are going to hear a pre-recorded message or something and be like, not go through it. But majority of customers, like if I call and I get, hey, thank you for calling, whatever, press one for this, press two for that, or, enter your zip code, and it gives you the breakdown. You press pound, do your zip code, whatever. It's like it just kind of makes sense. But and Adam, you could correct me. You will lose callers sometimes through an IVR, but you're also qualifying callers and essentially making it easier to have convertible, calls.
Well, I think that when it comes to an IVR, what you're sacrificing for every interaction and every second of voice on the IVR is conversion rate, but the quality of the calls that do convert will be higher. And so for things like a zip code, what we generally see is a waterfall of data enrichment. So if you need someone's zip code and you're the affiliate or the media buyer, the best way to do that is using number pools, which will automatically, what you do is you put the Ringba JavaScript tag on a landing page, and our system will automatically grab all of the user's data, including their geographic location, their physical location, by their IP address, their browser, device type, all this stuff. And it happens natively. You don't have to pass it. Our JavaScript just grabs it all and organizes it into tags, which you then can use for your routing. And so that's the best way to get geographic data. Now, sometimes that data isn't available, or let's say they have an ad blocker, they block all JavaScript or whatever it is. The next thing that can happen is that in call flows, you can say, well, if we didn't get the geographic location from the JavaScript tag, then append data based on the caller ID. So we can then take the caller ID, append demographic data and geographic data to the caller ID and make that available for routing. So maybe you get the zip code there. Now, for whatever reason, if we're unable to append the zip code, then what you can do is play the IVR and gather that information from the user by saying, please enter your zip code. And so what we see a lot of the times is affiliates going through that type of waterfall because they want to minimize the impact of their conversion rate on the IVR. And so they try and handle everything they need to before putting that IVR in place. And I've even seen affiliates make huge call flows with tons of nodes and tons of campaigns so that they're using the ad platform to get the user's physical location as well without having to put them into an IVR. And what I mean by that is if you're doing a state-by-state campaign, it requires 50 campaigns in Google or Facebook or whatever, or you need to pass the geographic location data from the ad platform into the landing page. And then again, you don't need to go through the process of asking the user over the IVR, but you can use it as a backup. And so there's all sorts of creative ways to get the information you need into the routing platform so that you're routing the calls appropriately without interrupting the user experience. And that's really the difference. This is another fundamental difference between pay-per-call and being an affiliate. With an affiliate, and you're running any type of affiliate or lead gen campaign, you really only need to worry about the landing page. But with pay-per-call, you do need to worry about the call flow and how the users are routed. That effectively is your product and how you get the most margin out of every single campaign. And it's things like, these IVR waterfalls that I'm describing that people use to get there.
Attila, can someone find success in pay-per-call without having their own call tracking set up? I guess the question I'm getting at is like, how important is call tracking when it comes to the pay-per-call game? Is it 100% necessary to succeed, or is it just strongly, strongly recommended?
No, it's 100%, like 110%. Like, don't even start unless you have Ringba, right? Because you need to be able to really quickly decide like where the call's gonna go to which buyer depending on the day and the hour and stuff like that to make the maximum, per call, like the revenue per call. So 100% you need it. And as Adam said, and I didn't use this, but it's super powerful to actually qualify the user and take all the info that we can get about the user and then right away route them based on that information to save having to ask them those questions, which could potentially piss them off and make them disconnect. So 100%, you do need a tracking, platform for the calls. Otherwise, don't even bother starting.
And what's your take on, or what's your process, I should say, when it comes to fraud? Everybody deals with fraud in different ways in the affiliate marketing space, but specifically to pay-per-call, what are some of the systems you have set up in place to deal with fraud when it comes to these inbound calls and leads that you guys work with?
Well, honestly, I never faced fraud. Probably I didn't run that kind of shady stuff because I went for quality, right? I was working with a bunch of good buyers for debt. Like that's something I was doing now, Spanish debt. And we qualified the people pretty good. And the problem that we actually ran into, it's not fraud, it's just people lying. Like this is crazy, like what happens is they know like what the ad says, right? They say that you need to have, let's say, minimum $10,000 in credit card debt. And then they will call and they will, try and like say that they have it. But when the person on the phone, polls them more and asks deeper and deeper questions, they realize, oh yeah, they have auto insured, like auto loan, some kind of personal loan and some kind of credit card, and that adds up to 10K, but they're just trying to, game the system. So it's usually the people that try and, do the fraud because they really want what is being advertised. Like in ACA, people were advertising the 6400 card or whatever. So people would call, and I know this from listening to calls, and they would make up so many crazy stories because they want that card with the $6,400, So again, it's about being good in your ads, not to mislead them.
I think I'll touch on that too, Attila. I think, and Josh as well, in the affiliate marketing space, you might be buying, clicks from Meta or TikTok or Google, whatever, and you're going to get clearly fraudulent clicks. You're going to be looking at whatever tool you use to analyze clicks, and you can tell they're bots based on user agents and stuff. So, like you as the affiliate, as the media buyer arbitraging whatever you're promoting, are a victim of fraud and losing money because of that. Those bad actors fraudulently clicking your ads. I've heard of people that are promoting pay-per-call, and then, for example, someone like a competitor prank calls their numbers, or they find their ads and they kind of call their ads a bunch to try to screw up, their concurrency caps and also mess up their kind of ROI. But in terms of like fraud as an issue for an affiliate in pay-per-call, it's not really a relevant issue. Now, if I was a buyer, there's definitely, bad actors that might be, doing something to generate a call that is not going to be a quality call. But I think as the pay-per-call space has really grown and developed over the past like 5 years or so, Adam, I think you could, counter me or agree with me. We don't really hear about those kind of issues like we used to, like where people were just straight up generating bullshit calls and trying to sell them.
I mean, it
You know what I
still
mean?
happens,
But
but
it's not like every week in the Skype groups they're
no.
like, "Hey, this happened or that happened," and I'm not even going to
No.
talk about what it is. If you know, you know. But like, it's not as prominent because call centers and teams that were buying calls learn to detect patterns too.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
there is one kind of fraud that affiliates need to pay attention to, and I do talk about this in detail in the book. It's callback fraud from buyers. And it generally is only small buyers or transfer centers that are small that are going to do this. You're probably never going to see this with a buyer that has any reasonable number of agents because it's just not worth it for them. It's not a scalable business practice if you have hundreds of agents to do callback fraud. But essentially what will happen is a buyer will train their agents to say, "Hey, I can't hear you. Let me call you back." And sometimes there's a legitimate, "I can't hear you," or a telecom issue. But if it's a pattern with the same buyer, they're generally trying to get the calls without paying the affiliates. And it's rare, but it happens. And again, it's going to be the smaller buyers that do it. No national brand, obviously, is engaging in this type of behavior because they want to maintain their partnerships and build good partnerships. And yeah, Harrison, we used to see stuff all the time in the groups with bad behavior, but a lot of the people engaging in bad behavior have just been called out and aren't in the industry anymore. It's harder to do that these days.
It's a
And
cool
Yeah, Adam,
aspect of
it's
pay-per-call.
yeah,
guys,
People
something
call out bullshit.
incredible that I noticed about the industry, pay-per-call is actually more real than affiliate. Like affiliate is full of fake profiles in like different Telegram groups and Skype groups, whereas in pay-per-call, everybody knows everybody. So that really helped what Adam said, weed out the bad actors, like they vanished. And also because, people are calling in, they can right away tell if the person is real or a faker or whatever.
mm-hmm.
So pay-per-call has this human element to it that sending clicks does not, it's just like all done by it's like there you don't have to talk to anybody when you send clicks and stuff. They either
Yeah.
convert or they don't. So
And Josh, I
Makes
want to
the
go back. I want to go back to what you said about tracking. And I want to tell a story, which is old. It's almost 10 years old at this point. Back when Harrison and I used to run calls, when we first got started in the space, we were working with a merchant cash advance advertiser, and we didn't have call tracking. Like the technology didn't exist to do what people do now. And this is
like
one of the
nothing.
reasons why we built it. And so I got on the phone with our advertiser, and the first thing I said was, "What do you mean you're not paying for these calls?" And so I didn't know anything about the space, and I think back then people had a really high learning curve. But the thing about not having tracking is, and I have the book right here, so I'm just going to read out of it, is we had no idea which advertising source was actually producing calls, so we couldn't tell which was profitable or not. We had no insights into how many calls were being answered or how many calls were converting into billable commissions. We had no guarantee our calls were going to get sold, so we couldn't optimize our advertising campaigns. We had no way to do quality assurance and listen to the calls to make sure consumers were happy or the buyers were doing their job correctly. We had no idea if the buyers were putting people on hold or dropping the calls. We had no recourse if the buyers' phones went down, didn't have agents available, or they bought too many calls from other publishers. We had no way to deal with repeat callers who wanted to talk with someone else. And we had no way to validate the amount of money we were getting paid was correct. Like this was an absolute nightmare. And so to be clear, if you do not have your own call tracking, you have no optimization capability, no quality assurance, no guarantee of payment, no traffic oversight, no buyer oversight, no idea how many of your calls were answered, no idea if you're dropping calls, no guarantee calls get sold, no recourse if your buyers' phones go down, no recourse if your buyers get flooded with calls, and you're probably not getting paid for duplicate calls. And so the thing about this, and affiliates will tell me this, and we see it all the time, is they'll be like, well, I'm used to not having to pay for technology or tools to get the job done. I'm used to just going to an affiliate network and they give me a tracking link and I'm done. And with pay-per-call, you can do it that way, but you're going to
You
compete
should
with
make
guys.
the investment or you're going to pay for it.
Yeah, exactly. You're competing with guys like Atilla who are like, yeah, sure, I'll pay for the best technology to optimize
Adam,
everything.
remember when I came and saw you at your kick-ass mansion apartment, I told you, like, dude, I tried it and I didn't make money. And the first question you asked is, did you get your own tracker? I was like, no, they gave me one. I was like,
Yeah.
see, that's the problem. You cannot listen to the calls. You cannot add multiple buyers. So there you go. Like, I'm living proof that you need a tracker yourself, because it's not enough to use someone else's, because then you remove the chance of profit, because all it took to become profitable with Spanish debt was throwing in 12 different buyers that I found through networking, and then seeing the data and then just sending most of the calls to the top 3. So that's basically it.
And look at that, right? So you spent money on software, and when you didn't spend money on software, you lost your own money. You couldn't make the campaign work. You
Yeah, I was
failed,
like, why the
essentially.
hell isn't this working? They're telling me they're optimizing the buyers, right?
Yeah, and they're not. They're doing it for themselves, not you. And
Yeah,
so
exactly.
then you go and you spend the money and you have a profitable campaign. So that's the thing. If you're going to be a pay-per-call affiliate, you have to have the tracking software. There's no other way to do it. And the money you're spending on the traffic tracking software is not cost. It is a profit center for you, because if you don't have it, you lose money. If you do have it, you make money. And so it's necessary and it is a profitable investment. So you have to look at the tracking software and pay-per-call as an investment in your success, and you get a return on that investment when you do it right. And that's also a mindset shift that has to
It's
happen
a
with
big
affiliates.
shift.
And it's funny,
We
like
have
we literally talked about this, and then you run off and immediately make a successful campaign. And I
Yeah,
wish
well, I
more
took your
affiliates saw
advice,
this.
right? Because I have huge respect for you guys. So I always listen to people who are better than me at stuff. And it worked. That was basically the secret sauce, my own tracker, my own Ringba, basically, not someone else's Ringba as a sub account, and adding many buyers and then seeing the data flow and then right away picking the best. And there you go. That was basically the trick to the profit on what turned it around.
I just thought about something at LeadsCon like 2 weeks ago. Yeah, 2 weeks ago. I had a conversation with someone that was like, yeah, I've been using you guys for years, trying to get my call stuff to the next level. I just don't have much margin in my campaigns. And I was like, well, who's your rep? And he was like, I don't know. I've never spoken. I don't have a rep. And I was like, let's figure this out. And then he logs in and it was just like 18 sub accounts from networks he works with. And I
Yeah.
was like, bro, like that's not the same. Like, I'm not, I'm happy. I'd love for your business. I'm not trying to sell you anything here. I don't really do sales, but like, you should be using your own Ringba account to route to the, buyers in the most profitable scenario, et cetera. And it was like a deer in headlights. He was like, well, why would I pay per minute? They do that. And I'm like, dude, just give it a try. Run one campaign. And I kid you not, this Monday, I got a thank you. Like, hey, dude, I've been using you guys for like 10 days now. This guy's my rep. I switched 2 of my campaigns and my margins are now like 20 to 22%. I was making 8% before. I said, really? He goes, the 20 to 24% or whatever is after I'm paying you guys. And I was like, dude, hell yeah, you're thinking big now. You're building something now. You're not just running someone else's, you have power now. He was like, dude, I love this. So
Well,
Yeah.
people forget that this is a race, right? And I think Attila will resonate with this. If you're gonna be in a race, you don't go buy a Honda Civic. You buy the Ferrari and you win the race.
Right.
And if you're racing against people who have Ferraris, you can't win if you're in a Honda Civic. It just doesn't work. And so I think people forget, Harrison, that our background is in media buying and what Attila does and what everyone else does in the industry. And we did it for a decade or more before we started building software for the space. And these concepts haven't changed and we intimately understand them. And so there's a lot built into Ringba that makes people more money that they don't even realize is happening. And that's why we've been able to take over the market. It's just simply because we understand what our customers do and we build technology to make them money using what we learned. I mean, I don't even want to talk about how much money Harrison and I have lost arbitraging ads, but like, it's a lot. And we took everything we learned and we built it into the software. And so I know that this sounds like a sales pitch, but it really is fundamentally required to be successful in pay-per-call, simply because the technology at this point is so good at what it does that if you're not using it, you're just going to lose. Because if Attila's using it, he can spend more money to acquire a caller than someone that's not using the technology. And so they literally can never win against him unless they have it. It's exactly like the analogy I used. If you're doing a race and you're in a Ferrari and you're next to, a Kia Sophia, like the Kia is never going to win ever. It's just not possible. So, yeah.
You know what else is required, fundamentally required to have a good podcast? Amazing podcast guests. Attila, you are fantastic today, man. We appreciate having you on the show. For myself, Josh from OfferVault, Mr. PayPerCall, Adam Young, the industry legend, and iAmAttila, CMO of PayPerCall.agency. Let's make that paper. Let's make that dough. This was the Affiliate Marketing Show. We'll see y'all next time.